Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Daily Refinement. This is our Wednesday call. It's our mastermind call, which we do Monday through Friday, but on Wednesdays, it's on YouTube Live. Today, I want to talk about habits and what habits do you want as a eBayer. And I want everyone to put the habits that you want in the chat. So, as an example, I've been trying to think of how to get people to think of eBay positively instead of negatively, and I figured it out. Good habits produce amazing results. If you want 10 sales a day on average, you have to average at least 10 sales a day. 10 items going into your store per day. If you want to sleep better, then you need a set of things that help you sleep better. If you want a good relationship, you need to do the same thing. So everyone is just their habits. So if you can think about each time you do something, just like in the book Atomic Habits, you're voting for that version of yourself. It's really positive. So just think of yourself as trying to build that good habit instead of anything negative. That's it. So what habits do you want? As an example, do you want things ready for the next day? And I just figured out why my right now my photographer Lister and myself are struggling a little bit, and I know why. It's because our days look a little bit different. On the days that it's exactly the same, like my Wednesday has been perfect for an entire year because it's completely scheduled out and I've done it 55 weeks in a row. So I know exactly what's going to happen. This call is always on time because we started at the same time. Somebody complained that I was late. So I don't remember how long ago this was, but maybe a couple months ago, someone said that I was late. So I set up some new processes and now I'm never late. The 15 minutes before the call is a time dedicated to working on your listing habit. And it also gives me a buffer from being late. So I'm never late to this call anymore because I set up a system for that. So I want everyone to think about what habits do you want? How do you create that listing habit? You can't list every day on accident. And you can't work 365 days a year. So you have to have a buffer. How do you set that up? So let's start with Mandy. Mandy, good morning. What kind of habits do you want in your eBay business?
Oh, hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. My habit is definitely listing. Before I started the group, I listed, 10 to 15 items on a day, but only 3, maybe 4 days a week.
Okay.
So it was just sporadic. It was just, whatever our day was. So
Yeah.
now I list every day. And I did increase my number. And the other part is the bank. I never had a bank. So if something came up, I just didn't list that day. Like I didn't understand the importance of it. I knew consistency was important, but to me, it wasn't important at that moment, I guess. And now definitely is. We had some family stuff happen this last week. I had some family member that was really sick, and I had the luxury of being able to take off because I had enough listings in my bank, so it was really nice. So just now I have to build my bank back up.
That's exactly right. You have to plan to take time off or
Mm-hmm.
have family members come. Like every year you have the week after Christmas, people don't do much.
Yep.
So if all your family is home the week of Christmas, then get ahead of the game so that you can take that week off. I love it. And I think that's the key too. You mentioned you were sporadic before, now you're more consistent. That is the most, if you want to be proud of yourself, that is the hardest thing to do. So you should be the most proud of yourself for that. Creating a habit is the hardest thing to do and produces the best results. So I think that's how people can give themselves grace.
Well, it's
And
nice that like my sales have been like way more consistent and way more increased. So that kind of helps you. Like that's your carrot. Like I keep wanting to go further and further.
I love it. Great. Thank you for sharing. Let's go with Eric. Eric, can you chat? I know you're packing right now, but I want to hear what kind of habits you want to work on.
Yeah. So I think I said in the chat,
Mhm.
just cleaning up my workspace before, because when we used to live in the apartment before we moved into this house and I got my own space, I would work in the living room and it was a mess. And I wasn't able to, well, it's not that I wasn't able to, I just made excuses to not clean up. But now that I got my own space, I try and keep my desk completely clean of everything. That's pretty much it. And then just keeping the listing habit. I got a week and a half now of 20 a day, and I have 120 in the bank now. So I'm going on vacation for 3 days, and I'm prepared for that.
I love it. That's fantastic. That I think that the clean workspace is number one. If you get to work and it's ready to go, there's nothing distracting you, there's nothing on your mind, you can just immediately start working. The chances of you being successful at work are so high. Imagine if you went to work, they hand you a bottle of water, put on some music you like, and they're like, okay, this is your job today, and you know exactly what you're doing. The chances of success are 100%. You want to set your day up perfectly so that you can succeed. But if you get to work, you're hungry, you need to use the bathroom, you're tired, your desk is messy, you have a 0% chance of being able to do your job. It's too hard to overcome all of that every single day. Let's go with Spencer. Spencer, good morning. What habits do you want?
Good morning. So I was thinking about this, and I think the habit I've been working on lately that has actually been working is giving eBay some more love. Like I mentioned before, I was mainly on Poshmark, and ever since I joined the group, I've been giving eBay much more love, and it's really been working. And yeah, I just need to keep up with it because obviously you need to stay active.
Is give and you shall receive something in the Bible? Because that's how eBay works.
Yeah, it really does work. It's kind of crazy, and like I'd still make more sales on Poshmark because that's where I have my listings. But the more I add, the more I sell on eBay.
Wow, listen to this. Give and you will receive. Your gift will return to you in full, pressed down, shaken together to make room for more, running over and poured into your lap. The amount you give will determine the amount you give back. That's a religious interpretation of Luke 6:38. I never thought of eBay as a religious experience, but it is. If you give to it, it will give you back magically. These customers from all over the world. You got to think about how insanely amazing that is. You post something on the internet from your house, and somebody in Switzerland can buy your polar bear, teddy bear. That's amazing. All right, Nick, what kind of habits do you want?
All right. So I'm really starting to niche down. So I was always kind of hesitant with clothing, but I'm definitely putting that into my business and then trying to steer away from everything I have. So I think solo, I'm looking for 30 a day. I want to try to source the amount of inventory I need in one day per week. I want weekends off, and I want to try to be done by 2 o'clock, and then a clean workspace. And I think my previous business, it was just like a lot of odds and ends. So I feel like it wasn't really conducive for clean workspace because I was doing things so wide. I needed like isopropyl alcohol and wipes to clean stuff down. So I think it's just going to focus on that. And then once I can hit that, then I'm just going to kind of coast and then see if I'm in a position to hire someone. So maybe a year out, I'll look at that.
That's a great timeline, because I think once you have your system set up, then you'll be ready to hire somebody. Yeah. And you're setting up your schedule for yourself. So let's say you want to be at 30 a day and you source 210 items on one day to list however you want to do it. And I was thinking about if I sold shoes, I think that I'd want to list 210 in one day and the other 6 days look for shoes, because shoes are not that easy to find. So I would want to focus my effort on that. And then listing shoes, I have to test it because I don't know the item specifics that well, but the photography for shoes is so fast because they're all the same. It's the same picture sequence every time. So, you could get pictures for shoes down to 1 minute, but the listing part. But anyway, I love the idea of knowing that, because now when you hire somebody, so this, okay, let me back up, Nick. This is my new theory. If you want to do 210 a week, you have to have the ability to do 420 a week. So that means if you need to get 210 all on one day, that's too risky. I would say, like, if you sourcing all day, you only get 210 items, then you should put your goal at 105, just so you can comfortably get all the things that you need the list. And because that will throw off your goal. Let's say your goal is 210 and you only get 150 one day, then you can't hit your goal. Then the whole thing gets screwed up. So you need to be, go ahead.
Yeah, I was sourcing 3 hours yesterday. I got 50 units that I felt like were quality enough to add. So either I got to hit that harder, but I felt like I kind of dried it out for the stuff that I was looking for, or try to find maybe a flea market in the area somewhere I can find someone that's has more volume available to be able to look through there.
Yeah, that's true. You're going to have to think of a different way to do it, but it has to be, you have to comfortably be able to get, in my opinion, 400. So what I would do is maybe 2 days of sourcing with the goal of getting 210 per day. And then if things don't work out, you still hit your goal. So I want everyone to write this habit down. When your day doesn't go as planned, you still hit your habit. That's what everyone in this group needs to do. Like, your car broke down, some kind of urgent family member thing happened. Your car got hit by lightning. There was a tornado. You still got your listings up without any stress. That's how everyone needs to get to that stage. And in order to do that, you have to be super duper prepared so that it doesn't matter when the stuff comes up.
Yeah, I feel like if I can list and photo 30 items in 3 hours, then I'll have available time to source multiple days during the week.
Yeah. So I have a new commitment to you guys. I'm going to figure it out. So I've been running this group of tech for a little over a year now, and he has his way of photographs, shipping, photography, listing, and it is all the things that he does are the fastest and produce the least of mistakes. The only thing is that some people don't like the presentation of his photos, but other than that, as far as photo accuracy, color, shipping, all that good stuff, he's number one. I don't like that. I want to be number one in one of those categories. So I'm going to start thinking hard every day and figure out how to do that. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable that he's number one in every single category. I refuse to believe that. All right. So everyone has to be good. Think about what you're doing. And it needs to be this. He's number one in the group in habits too. He has the strongest habit of 5,000 days in a row. That's pretty hard to beat, but I refuse to accept that. Somebody in the group needs to step it up and be better at least one of the things. You can't be better in every single category. That's embarrassing for everyone in this group. Come on, think about it. How can we do it faster, better, cleaner, smoother, more consistent, so that you can do a 50,000 day habit? But yeah, that's how I was thinking last night. That's how we can make it positive permanently. Think about your good habits you want to create. It's really hard. It'll keep you focused. No one will be negative because there's no time to be negative. Creating a good habit will require 100% of your focus. Okay. Jason, what's up? What kind of habits do you want?
Yeah, I'd like to have a habit of setting up a schedule every day and then actually following that schedule. Because I tend to not follow the schedule, maybe because I don't have to. There's nobody making me do it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I really would like to do.
Okay. So I think everyone has that same goal, right? And it just starts with one piece at a time. So as an example, in the morning, I'm trying to develop a rock solid morning routine. And my morning routine is getting pretty good. So I'm trying to make like the schedule that you create, Jason, that you want. It's not a habit yet. I want to make whatever it is your goal is into one big, long habit. Success is a habit. Failure is also a habit. So my morning routine, as an example, it has to be in the right order. If it's not in the right order, then it doesn't work. So I think it's important to drink water in the morning. It's important to just get your day started in the same way, whether it's coffee, whether it's whatever. You just need to land at work ready to kick ass. So I want that to happen. And it's the same thing. Like when you hang out with your friends, you should show up ready to kick ass. You know, I used to live in Utah. I left Utah because everyone always says, come over to my house and let's figure out what to do. And I'm like, no, let's figure out what we want to do right now. Why do I have to go to your house and figure out what to do? Everyone, it's like the cultural thing there where you have to waste an hour figuring out what to do. So I moved to New York City where everybody knows what they want to do the next 20 years. They're ready to go. Everyone there wants what they want right now. And I think I loved that culture. Now I live in California. It's a little bit more laid back, but I love when people know what they want. It's sexy. You know, if you ask people why are you attracted to people, or when are you most attracted to someone, it's when they're in their element. That's when you really love it. You really love someone, you love something when you're in your element, and that takes planning. But yeah, I mean, see, Mariah's in Utah and she has that. I hate that. I left Utah. When I left Utah, I didn't come back for a year. When I came back, I was at a party and I was like, I'm out of here. I'm leaving because you guys are moving at too slow of a pace. When I came back a year later, I was like, wow, I'm at the same party I was at when I left a year ago. You guys aren't moving slowly. You haven't moved at all. You're the exact same people as I left. It's like crazy. A whole year went by and you're exactly the same. How is that possible? So anyway, we're all talking about habits right now. Paul?
Hey, you touched on something about rock solid habits in the morning, which is something I'm trying to develop. But I recently realized what the power of doing things the same order every time. It's one of those things where you don't even think about it, but when you start doing it, not that I do it a whole lot, but I'm trying to do it more. But it's like you don't have to think about it. The easiest one is like the photographs. If you do it in the exact order every time, it just goes so much faster. So then if I can take that and apply it to everything in the business, and where it's like boom, 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 almost automated, and it's it's rock solid, then that's awesome. And the other thing is it creates so much peace of mind that you're not sitting there thinking about it and floundering. And so like yesterday I was looking around in my little warehouse here, and I've got so much stuff left over from before I started selling clothing, and I've been thinking about listing it, but I think I may just pack up all the electronics and just donate them, because it's taken up a lot of mental real estate for me to think about that. And I think I could just get more efficient and work on habits and work on process and results in the category that I'm in, instead of worrying about listing all this other stuff.
I'll give you an example, Paul, of that. So this morning call is 8 steps. And if I were to try to wake up and try to remember those 8 steps, it's impossible, because I'm tired in the morning, or I'm not really tired, but I'm groggy in the morning. So I wrote it down. So what I do is I open Zoom, open the Facebook group, I start to stream on YouTube, I change the description, I change the playlist, I post it in Facebook, I would save the chat, and then I have to come up with some topics to talk about during the call. If I don't do it in that order, then this call is a disaster. Also, I have to be conscious while I'm doing this call. I have to mute people who accidentally unmute themselves, listen for people who are driving and they have the bad connection. I have to give people a prompt to think about. I have to call on people that I think that can answer this early in the morning. And all of that is like from practice, but it's the same order every single time. That way I screw it up less often. I even wrote down here that I should wash my contacts before I put them in every day. Sometimes I don't, and sometimes it's not as comfortable. So just don't skip any steps ever. And then you'll have what everybody wants. Everybody wants success. And success is just your habits.
You don't have to think about it.
You don't have to think about it. Thinking is horrible. Thinking is failure.
Yeah.
You
There's
can't
no-
think your way to success.
Right. Right. You got to start first and then figure it out from there.
And then once you figured it out, you just got to keep doing it the same way. I don't know what it is about like what happened to me. Something happened to me where when it starts working, I for some reason don't do the same thing over again. Why would it work? And then you try something different the next time. Nobody puts the key in the keyhole upside down. Why would you try it that way? Do you want to see if it works that way? Why? Why do you need to test if the key works upside down? Probably doesn't.
But can I ask you a question about something that happened over the weekend?
Yeah.
Um, so I took the weekend completely off, and I did not send any offers. I did not run any sales, but I had increased my promotion to the recommended, and my sales actually went up without sending any offers, without running any sales. They went up like 25% over the weekend. Is there an explanation for that, or?
Yeah. Just the previous work that you did paid off.
Okay.
That's all. When you get lucky, it's just because you did work previously that creates that.
Okay.
That's all the way I look at it. Jen, what habits do you want?
Oh, I was actually kind of tagging on to what he was just saying about this order of things. One of the things that I realized, and as he was saying it, I'm like, why didn't I think of this before? There is so much clutter. I'm speaking for myself. I have enough clutter of things that are not usable in my eBay life that I need to make that part of my habit to ask myself, what is in this room that is detracting from my ability to concentrate? Because if I made it a daily routine to have a box, and I saw someone had one underneath their desk that said donate, or I can't remember, two boxes, throw out or donate. And if I just spent just a few minutes every day thinking what around me needs to go, that would change everything. Because I agree with you about the workspace. It needs to be pristine. We're talking about church. It needs to be church. It needs to look clean and ready to go and ready to do what you're there for, which is to prepare your items for selling.
Can you imagine going to church if everything was messy?
Oh
like,
my God.
Like nobody knew where any of the books were. They didn't know what songs they were singing that day. There was no sermon. That would be weird. That would be odd. Why would you go to that church?
I'm the music director for the church, and trust me, the sequence of the songs, they have to be in the right order. What if I were to try to do my solo at the beginning of the service when it comes in halfway?
I know, it makes no sense.
So the order of things, yes, but also just making sure that before you even start, it's a clean palette, and that order. I'm going to start asking myself every day, what needs to go from this environment?
You know, Bill put in the group that smart people have that problem of trying something new. It's interesting because there's a difference between intelligence and effectiveness. And I want everyone to think about being effective. Do you get what you want? That's what's effective to me. Does your life look like what you want it to look like? Everyone's life is different. Everyone has different goals. But if your life looks like exactly what you want it to look like, then you are a success. If you want something and your life is completely different, you'll be miserable. So I love it. And I think that nobody really wants to do things in order. Warren Buffett's one of the richest people alive, and nobody copies him. Nobody wants to get rich slowly. They want it right now. He didn't get all of his wealth until like his 60s. So you have to do the first 40 years of disciplined investing in order to have like a 20-figure net worth when you're in your 80s and 90s. So it's like 40 years of compounding. Oh, also one more thing. Another reason why you should want habits is that they compound. So when Nick gets the 30 listings a day and he's rock solid and he can easily do 60, but he does 30, and at that point he's ready to hire somebody, you just doubled your productivity. Let's say you do 30, you hire someone who does 30. Now you're making twice as much money as a reward for your good habit. Let's say Nick gets really established. He has 10 local suppliers. They bring him things. Now he has 3 employees. he just tripled his income now from the compounds when you have really strong habits. You can't hire someone to do the same half-assed job that you did because, oh, this is actually sweet. If you multiply a half-assed job by a half-assed job, you get a quarter-assed job. It's worse. If you don't know what you're doing and you hire someone, you're going to end up in a worse situation than before you hired them. That's crazy. It just makes me think you have to really be prepared if you want to hire someone. It's hard. People are totally mistaken when they say it's easier to hire someone. They don't know, because you've got to be prepared for yourself and that person. Christine, what's up?
Yesterday, I moved my photo setup. I'm not going to get rid of that until I make for sure that I'm going to keep my flat lay right here. I love it. I double checked it, but I realized that, remember I was kind of saying yesterday that I was going to be doing yoga all day. Well, my body doesn't hurt as bad as I thought it would. I did 25 pictures or 25 sets. And what I realized was that my habit in the morning is going to have to change if I'm going to be using my body more. And you've talked about it in the past about our health. So I after I finished all my things in business, I looked at getting back into yoga. And I was looking at how I can actually get my work done, get the physical activity in there with something that I like, and then still meet my goals and have some consistency. So that's one of the things, because I know that whenever I physically am active, because this job is a lot of, outside of sourcing and moving heavy buckets around, it's a lot of sanitary. I mean, I have a stand-up desk and I stand up and sit down, but actually physically moving, I don't do. I mean, that's the truth. And it's kind of embarrassing, but that's the truth. So the habit I'd like to start is my exercise program. And then, so I don't know exactly if it's going to be our show or the mastermind, and then the yoga, and then come back to home to start my day. I don't want to start my day at yoga at 5:30 in the morning. It's just not something that I don't want to do that. I don't want to be out of the house at dark, so that's going to be kind of an interesting thing for me to figure out how I'm going to do it, but I should have the decision done today. So that's my time. What you got?
I think that the exercise habit's really important, because the people who are able to sustain whatever they're doing for a long time are all healthy. Unlike let's bring up Wolverine for a second. He's a mutant that has these healing powers, and he immediately starts healing. I think everyone in the group needs that, because something comes up. You just can't let it be a wound that messes you up the whole day. It's just got to be a scratch. Somebody calls you and needs your help for an hour. That needs to just bounce off you. Like, go help them for an hour and get back to work. You don't have to, like, what will happen is somebody will call you and they need your help for an hour, and that ruins the rest of your day. Just let it ruin that 1 hour of the day, and then come back and then get back to work. I think that you just have to heal. There's no one gets through life and it's just smooth. You get to work, it's perfect. Everyone's cheering you on. You to the post office, they run up and scan your packages. That doesn't happen. They don't do that. It's all hard. They're all trying to push you away and say, I'm busy trying to do my job. Why do you come in here with your packages and screw us up? It's like, you need to have that bounce right off you and get in there. Maybe they look forward to seeing you. Have you thought about that? You show up and you bring a warm cookie, and they're like, okay, it's cookie time. Scan this person's packages. And they actually enjoy seeing you. Let's try to get that habit going. Because I think that's why I like bringing the individually wrapped cookies. The Madeleines from Costco is my post office gift, because you can't eat all of them. You have to share it with the other post office workers, and then you can be the cookie person.
Hey, Chris.
Yep.
I'm so glad you said that about something comes up in your day and it kind of bumps you off. So right, and that's happened to me the last 2 days. And after going smooth for a while, I've had a couple things like in this morning, like today, I've got to go to a funeral. So I'm going to try to get all my stuff done before the funeral. But I mean that's there. So I figured out I can do one of two things. I can either let it completely take me off the rails, assuming that the rest of the time is gonna go smooth too, which it's not. It never does. Or I can learn how to bounce back from that as quickly as possible and just keep going. So I'm going with that.
I think that this is what surprises me when I hear older people that don't realize that it's not a straight line. Like when I hear older people complaining, I'd say anybody over 25 years old is older. Like you've had some life experience. It shouldn't surprise you when things don't go to plan. Things never go to plan. I think you should know that by now. I don't get upset when things don't go to plan. That's just part of it. But it's actually, you're a superhero when something happens and then you're still able to get it done. That's cool. So, when Rafaela in the group, she posted that when she worked a 9-to-5 retail job, she missed every single family gathering because she couldn't get off work. And retail also works on the weekends, which is hard, right? Because that's when people shop. So imagine you miss all the weekends, all the events, and now you get to not miss anything, but you have to work the opposite hours. One more thought on this. The thriftologist in the chat said, be happy or grateful that people need you. You can make people need you. You can do that by just doing a life of service. If you
go
ahead, Christine. Go ahead.
But when it's out of balance, that's where we aren't able to stay in alignment with our goals, because be in the yes, I can do it. Yes, I can take you, mom. Yes, I can do this for you, sister. Yes, I can take meals to a person that is grieving the loss of their mother. I ended up physically spent, and I was like, okay, I've got to I got to show some boundaries. Yes, I want to be helpful, but I started reading this book. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's The Best Yes, and it's a religious book, but it's not overly. It's not too much. It talks about, is it good for me? Is it going to take up too much mental space? Is it going to be okay for me financially, spiritually, physically, emotionally? All these questions that I used to say to my customer or my clients. And for somehow I don't remember it. They always say therapists are the worst. They're the ones that need most help. Anyway.
Because you play in the mud all day. So it's hard that when you're trying to help people all day. But the thing is, I think if somebody asks you to do something, it's just a priority thing. When you are important, like if you're a heart surgeon, no one's texting you when you're at work. There would be no distractions. There's literally people there making sure no one bothers you. They lock the door so no one can come in and bother you during surgery because that's how important it is. But if your job doesn't look important and you don't make a lot of money, then people will interrupt you. So you have to earn that respect. You have to be a surgeon level at your job so people don't bother you. If you produce little minimal results, it's almost like when people don't take you seriously, that should be a motivator. It's hard to be like, oh, people are always interrupting me. You need to take yourself more seriously too. Like, no, this is my listing time. No one bothers me during this time. You can bother me during hangout time.
Exactly, because then we become resentful.
You do. And also, your family will become resentful if you don't schedule time. Like,
right. Well, here's the thing is we train people how to treat us. So I
absolutely
all the people in my life that
100%.
Christine has an eBay business and she can drop it and it's flexible because that's what I told them. It's flexible. Oh, I can do it. Not a problem. I can just move it around. And it's not because this is my work and I enjoy it. So
you're right, Christine. You train people to treat you a certain way. That's absolutely right.
And right now my family's not so happy with me but there's 3 other people that can step up instead of me always stepping up. So that's
I
where I
hear
am. Okay, I'll
Let's
shut
go
up.
to. No, you're all good. Nico.
Yeah, Chris, I think that's just where all the years I was on eBay, it was a big deal when I was interrupted because I didn't have a good system. So to come right back to what I was doing was so stressful. I didn't realize it, how bad my system was. But if I was interrupted for even a small thing, then, I had to rethink everything I was doing because I had no process at all. And now if I'm interrupted, it really isn't a big deal. I just have everything, I just come right back and my clothes are here and I, have my packing right here. And it's just made all the difference in the world in being interrupted. Since I've been on the group, it's helped so much. So
What kind of other habits do you want, Nico?
oh boy, still getting rid of the hard goods. I am not really picking more up. I think I started in this business because I'm so thrifty. I'm so thrifty by nature. And so for me to get rid of a VCR that I paid $4 for, and I know it's worth $100, I know I will make more money by just doing the clothing that I already have bought. But it's hard for me to just dump a VCR. I've got to get out of that habit because it's costing me money to keep things that aren't in my system. And it's also costing me mental headspace because I am stressed by this little tiny pile on this one shelf is stressing me out more than the 300 pieces of clothing that I have to do. I keep going back to the clothing because my system works for the clothing. So I keep finding myself just doing the clothing. So why am I keeping that shelf of stuff that's probably only worth about $500 because it's just stressing me out. So that's where I'm trying to just and I did get rid of some this week. I took golf clubs to the thrift that were worth hundreds of dollars because I don't have a system for those. So I am improving, but I'm not there yet. So
That's interesting. I've become better at that myself. Like if I think I always use this example. My friend Prince and I were garage sailing and he found a new iPod.
mm-hmm.
And it was like, how long does it take to list a brand new iPod?
Mm-hmm.
Not very long. Just put the UPC code in, one picture, done. So it was like, I don't know, $80 profit or something. He said it was a waste of his time.
Mhm.
He's like, why would I do that? I already make hundreds of dollars doing my niche. I don't need that. That's distracting. Then I got to think about that. I might get a return. I don't know how to ship that. I don't know what the competition is. I have to do all the research. So no. Versus he used to sell GoPro 1 through 6, and that's it. He only sold 6 products. When we went to the flea market, he knew what to pay for GoPro 1 through 6. He knew which one it was by looking at it. He knew what the common problems were going to be when looking at it. So when you are that level, like you don't need to dabble.
Right.
So I think for you, it's really easy to, okay, it needs to become easy to say no. That's probably important for everyone in the group to do. You need the habit of saying no. Like Tech said that people already know the answer before they ask him, and it's usually no. And Warren Buffett, the richest guy ever, said that the ability to say no is the best superpower.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just hard for me. The things I've already bought. I think I don't have an overall broke mentality. I don't think, but I still have a little tiny bit of that broke mentality where I have, that's $500. Why would you give that away?
Yep.
And I keep having to tell myself it's costing me money. And so as I do that, it's much easier.
I agree. I think that's the right mentality. It's costing you money. It's not listing a bunch of things that you purchased or made bad purchases. It is better to it's literally better to donate them. Let somebody else get better use for them. And I think, okay, an example for that for me is all the baby stuff that we have. I'd rather donate it to other parents than resell it.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
go ahead, Nick.
Sorry.
I was going to say, and it's tough because I'm dealing with a very similar issue. I have stuff I sunk some money into, but I already made my money back and I made profit on it. And, I got big items that's taking up spaces, could take up 4, 5, 6 boxes of clothing, which is hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So that space is getting used. And then when I got to pack it, I'm like dreading the packing process on this huge receiver. I got it for $15. It's worth over 100, maybe 150, but just the time and the space and the energy, I'm like ready to just get it out of my life and focus on the future.
Yeah, I think I keep telling myself I have two choices. I either have to create the process for these VCRs, and I have to create the table space and, where the boxes sit, and I have to create this whole big system for doing that kind of stuff, or I have to get rid of it. But I'm still just struggling to actually like load it in the car and take it. So I did better this week, like I said, with the golf club. So I'm going to get there. I'm dealing with stuff one by one. I'm working on the really small hard goods and getting my money back out of those that take just a couple minutes, and I'm not rebuying it. So I see some improvement anyway. So I'm happy with that.
Sounds good. Patty, what habit do you want, or do you have a comment?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. I was going to say, when you were talking about, you teach people how to treat you. Is that what she said?
You train people how to treat you.
Yeah, you train people how to treat you.
Yeah.
Last night on text call, I had said, many of the issues that a lot of us face is the post office and scanning.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to the people that work at the post office, I said, listen, this is an actual business. I'm like, I get dinged by eBay, and you hurt my business when you don't scan these packages or you don't pick up on time. I said, this isn't just me just wanting to sell one or two things. Like, I don't think the post office workers were treating people who see, when they see eBay packages, like it's a business.
That is 100% true, but go ahead.
So when I said that to them, they were kind of like, oh, okay. They weren't treating it, like if they walked into, Panduit or, Shell Oil or any of the other big businesses. Do you know what I mean? And
Well, I think it's also how you present yourself. If you go to a garage sale and you show up in a Lamborghini, and then you try to negotiate $1, you're going to get the middle finger. So it depends on your presentation. If you show up in a professional manner, you're courteous, you treat them well.
yeah,
A lot of it is the reciprocation. Like I wouldn't be condescending to a post office worker
No,
because
I
they don't like their job to begin with, a lot of them. So
no, I wasn't condescending. I was just saying, like, it's important that you scan this stuff.
I know.
It's not, because they just look. I just think sometimes they just look at you like, well, it's it's just an eBay package. It's not, And then so when I said that to them, they were just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, like, now they take it more seriously. Well, and I gave the guy a $25 gift card.
I think it matters also your presentation. Like I show up with the rolly cart and it looks professional and they're already sorted. I look like I know what I'm doing. Sometimes it's all reciprocation. I think that if you treat people really, really nicely, you're probably going to get that in return.
Oh, absolutely.
And I tell them, like, look, this year I'm on pace. I'm going to ship about 4,000 packages through you guys, and I'm just on the ground level of my business. It's going to grow from there.
I'm not sure they care.
Yeah.
Like, it's like telling people, you offered me $90 for this. Do you realize how much I paid for it and how much work I did? They don't know. Like, that's not part of it's not in their job description to care about your business. You have to make them care by caring about them. Like, hey, I know your day's long and rough, and I know you only have 5 minutes per customer, so let's make this quick. That's what they care about. They care about going home early. They don't care. They do not care about your business and it growing and that you are in a hurry. They're in a hurry too. Like if you worked at the DMV, would you be like, let me guess, you're in a hurry? It's hard. Imagine working at the DMV and everyone is pissed, or you're working customer service,
Mine was more like, like I need you to, like, hey, I appreciate you scanning, my packages, when you come to pick them up, like, here's a $25 gift card for lunch for the week. I asked him where he likes to go for lunch, and I'm like, I'm like, it's important to me. So I appreciate you doing it. So, here's a gift card. And that was kind of basically just making the point, like, it's important. Thank you for taking the time of doing it. So, here's my appreciation.
I had
a limit.
One of my padded flat rate envelopes wasn't as sticky on one of the corners. And the post office lady said, do you want me to put an additional piece of tape on that? I said, sure. And she said, do you trust me? And I was like, why would I not trust you? You're a public servant. What kind of question is that? You say that you're going to help me put an additional piece of tape on it, but you're really going to rip it open in the back? What are you talking about? Of course I trust you. You're the post office worker. And I don't think worker is not politically correct. I call myself a worker. I'm an eBay worker. I think that word is fine. Brian says you catch more flies with sugar than with vinegar. I agree. I think you be as nice as you can. If they were your best friend, like Go Thrift is saying in the chat, they would scan your packages. Let's go with you. Go ahead, Joe.
Sorry, I have a total suggestion because we went through the same thing. We had a lot of hard goods and I was just like the woman that was speaking, like, oh, I can't get rid of this. It's worth blah, blah, blah. And what we did is we found somebody who buys storage units and hates clothes, and we traded stuff out. So we still got something back for our investment, but it was something that was now our thing. And we got rid of all the electronics when we didn't have to worry about it,
I love it. Somebody in the chat asks, what do I mean by sorting? I mean that my first class packages and priority packages are separated so that they don't have to do that process when I get there, because they have to get sorted because they go in a different distribution. And as far as the USPS kiosk goes, you need to find out which post offices in your area have those kiosks if you want to use that. So for me, the benefit of using the kiosk is more just you don't have to wait in line, in a sense that you can scan and put it in the box and hopefully somebody will scan, because that scan right there is a receiving scan and not an acceptance scan. So it does not count for your insurance if you scan the package, because you could scan the package and then put it back in your backpack and walk back out the door. You don't have to actually put it in there. You need somebody to physically scan it. It's just that you have a receipt for your own, your own feel goods, and you don't have to wait in line. I like the scanner better than just dropping off your packages at the counter, but it's essentially the same. They still have to scan it for it to count. So either you wait in line, individually get it scanned, and you can even be funny, be like, I know you only have 5 minutes per customer, so let's do the best we can, and I'll get back in line again to do it again. And they're going to be like, unless you're a total dick, they're not going to make you stand back in line again. They're not. Unless you're just like, I don't know, I'll have to GoPro myself and go to 10 different post offices and just see if I can be nice and the post office workers will help me. Or you could say, hey, I need some help. I really need these packages scanned today. Could you help me? They're going to say no. I don't know. Let's see.
I mean, they should be nice to them. I mean, you see them every day. They're your
You see them every day.
They're your coworkers.
They're your coworkers. I love it. And if you come, oh yeah, also the pro tip is to go earlier in the day. Don't go at 4:59. They do not like that.
They start standing by the doors at 4:55 with the lock ready to go. So that's the hint.
That's true. That is the hint. Let's see. Frank is saying, any downside the USPS pickup? There's no downside to that. And you actually have a good opportunity to build rapport with your local post office pickup person if you do that, because you see the same person every day or most of the same days. Being nice is a habit too. It's a habit. If you generally treat people with courtesy, it will work. And that's why I don't want to be a hard ass on my YouTube videos, but I realize now that I don't have to be a hard ass anymore if I just tell people that habits are the key to everything. So just work on your habits, and that's not being rude or anything. It's just the truth. Working on your habits is hard. But good habits kill it. Megan says that her post office closes at 3:30. Great. Don't show up at 3:29. Get done early. Get there early with a smile on your face. Say, can you help me? They should be able to hook you up. I think if can you help me is very different than do this for me. Okay. So this is the reaction that you want from the post office worker. You want them to say, how can I help you? If you are create the right relationship, that's the question that people will ask you. How can I help you? If their answer is, what do you want? That means you've developed the wrong relationship with somebody. It works the same, not just your post office worker. Your suppliers too. If your supplier says, hey, Scott, what kind of stuff you're looking for this week? How can I help you? How can I make it easier for you? That's better than, are you calling me again because you want PlayStation 5s for 50% off? I don't have those. That's not a good way to develop rapport with people. Brian, what kind of habits are you working on?
That's a never-ending question. We were talking about this Monday night. I think the problem is that people want to create too many habits at one time. And if you go back to Atomic Habits and the one thing, like they've studied this, that it takes on average 66 days to get a habit down. Now it could be more or less depending on how difficult that habit is. And there are 7 different parts of your life. You got spiritual, financial, physical, etc., family. And so what you want to do is just do one of those at a time. And Atomic Habits has a 66-day habit calendar that you can download for free. And then you can mark it. There's also apps to do that. So I would suggest just focusing on one habit, whatever that habit is. Like in those books, they give you, there's little tips and tricks to make it easier to achieve those habits. So currently, like as I've become more efficient and doing all this myself, I'm finishing a little bit earlier and I'm trying to grow slow. So I'm finding more free time and I'm finishing earlier. So I think for me, the habit I'm currently working on is I want to start running. Like I've been walking and I think I'm ready to start running too, because all these things overlap. Like if you got to take care of yourself physically, emotionally, like everything has to be in alignment. So currently I want to add in the physical aspect, which will, couple that with good sleep habits and good eating habits and the efficiency habits of reselling, and then your life just looks better.
I love it, Brian. Yeah, it's all about habit development. What's up, Zahir in the chat in the UK? He's saying, I have suppliers who don't even reply to my order details and just reply with an invoice with no message. I'm a small fry to them. I have that with one of my suppliers. The only piece of value that I can give to that person is that I bring lunch. They don't need my business at all. I'm completely meaningless. The amount of money that I spend with them doesn't do anything. So I have to realize that my value to them is just lunch. So that's great. If somebody wants to big time you, let them be a big timer, and you're just a small fry that comes in and gets them coffee. That's just how it is with a lot of these big suppliers. They do business with people they like. That's it. Your kids your kids have danced together? That's huge. Because suppliers, like a lot of it is, I know a guy or I know a gal. That's how suppliers usually work. People hook up their friends. So Bluegrass Picker says running is great for the mind. My 3-mile habit has shrunk to a 1-mile walk. I used to run 3 miles every day. Then the baby came and now I walk 1 mile a day. I haven't been able to improve that because I'm not as motivated in the morning, but I need to get back into the habit because I think running a 5K or 1 to 3 miles a day is really good for the mind, especially if you can run fast. Because if you can run fast for you, then you can't think about anything else. It's hard to run fast. And maybe that's why Brian said that you can only learn one habit at a time. It's so hard to change a habit. that you need your full focus. And Dana was saying it takes her 4.5 minutes per shoe. And I was thinking, right now, I'm literally thinking about everything being faster. So as an example, when I test my shoe experiment, I'm trying to figure out, this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to have all the shoes to my left organized so that I don't have to move at all to get the next pair. So I don't know how that's possible because I don't really sell shoes, but I would like to have all the shoes to my left so I can reach all of them, put it onto the apparatus that I have to take photos on, take the same photos over and over again. I want a picture right next to me of the photos that I want to take in order so I don't forget. Keep doing that muscle memory. I'm going to pack my shoes in the plastic bag, 12 by 15. So I want those bags right there. So what I like to do is take the pictures right after, when I'm moving the shoe off of the thing, I want it to go directly into the plastic bag and sealed right there into a cart. Then when I'm done, I want to roll and put the shoes away immediately. So I'm going to try to list 200 shoes in 8 hours and put them all away live. But I haven't figured out the setup yet. Isaiah, what's up?
I was just gonna tell you how to do that. Like, I basically do what you're saying to do.
Sorry, you're a little muted.
Can you hear me?
A little bit. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. So, like, I basically do what you're saying to do.
Yep.
Where you're trying to like have all the shoes stacked up. So they start off in these bins right here. There we go. So they start off in this bin right here. I bring it from the cleaning station into here.
Okay.
They're all stacked up. I move them onto this big double bench right here. I had to take some shoes out because I was doing this, but they're on this double bench, and then I stack them up right there. I pull them off the bench, sit them onto the photo station, take the photos, and in your case, you just put them in a bag after taking the photos, put them back in the bin. If the bin is here on this double bench,
Yep.
and right after you take them off to the photo station, throw them in the bag, you can put it right back into the.
Are you left-handed?
No, I'm right-handed.
Okay.
I just pull from here, sit it there, snap, snap, snap. You can sit them in your bag. Maybe you have your bags right here or something like that. I don't know where you put them, but have your bag somewhere. Take them off the bags, put them here, grab the next shoe. This shoe goes up here, snap, snap, snap. Put them in your bag, go in here, next shoe, so on and so forth.
Gotcha. All right. I like it. I'm right-handed, and I think that I want it the other direction. I go left to right. So I want everything to my left, pull it up. And then I think everyone, if you can put everything right next to where you're supposed to go, like for example, my shipping. So I'm sitting at my desk and all the supplies are inches away from my hand. I think I can get shipping to 15 seconds, which is making me excited. So somebody put in the chat that they are working on multi-label shipping. I think I will be able to ship single shipping faster than multi-label, as long as I don't know. I'm just thinking about the efficiency of how fast things could be done. And I think that I could do shoes in 1 minute per set of photos, including putting it in the bag. But I don't know. We'll have to just test it and see. I love the idea that you don't have to move to list shoes. With clothing, you have to move. It's physical. You have to de-wrinkle the item as you pull it out in one firm motion to kind of shake it to make it look nice. You've got to stage it. You don't have to stage shoes. What I would do is stuff all the shoes before the station to list, make them all perfect before they arrive there. And then that little thing that you have right there, Isaiah, doesn't hold enough shoes for me. I would like to have hundreds of shoes right next to me somehow. I don't know. Maybe it's a rolling shelf or something. What I would like to do is, because I think listing shoes is so fast, the hard part is finding the shoes. So I don't know if I should hire someone to go find me 100 pairs of shoes a week, or I can get a supplier. I would rather sell pre-owned shoes because I think they sell faster. So I'm just thinking of how to do that. But also, people don't like your microphone, Isaiah. You sound like a robot. But anyway, everyone have an